Hi, this is Paul Evans from the 1010.life, and we're looking at our very first core, which is our body, and our very first essential, which is our mission. Our body verse is 1 Corinthians 6:19. You've been bought with a price, therefore honor the Lord with your body. This is our tool, our resource of service. This is how we go about our business day to day, and this is how we serve long term. So our body is the essential focus, and we're going to look at our mission. This is an area that people really get confused about. What am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? You hear people say things like, let's look out and see what the Lord's doing. We join him in his work. Or we feel like we're supposed to get this special assignment. And so for the most part, when it comes to our mission and what we're supposed to be doing in life, a lot of times we're clueless. We don't know exactly what that is. I cannot tell you the number of people who have said, if I just knew what I was supposed to be doing, if I knew what this thing was, my purpose is that I could dedicate my life to, then I could really get out there and create momentum. I could surge. I could live in this incredible way. So there's all sorts of tools and resources that are available that help give us that hint. Sometimes they tell us to go back to our childhood. And if that was true, I would be like either Superman or the Incredible Hulk if that was going to be my purpose. And sometimes we'll say something along the lines of, if we'll just sit there and pray enough, then it'll come to us, right? So often we feel like we're clueless and we want to move to clear. We want to move to clear so that we know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Mark 10:45 says, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. And we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper in just a second. But to me, this is the core of a mission. Those of us who are believers, who use the Bible as our compass, who are following the Lord, well, this is the example of Christ himself. He did not come to be served, but to serve. You think about how much energy the world places, our society places, our culture places on us being as great as we can be for our own purpose, for our own pleasure. And instead, we've got the example of Christ who says that he did not come to be served, even though he is king, but to serve and to actually give his life. Now, we know he actually did that. But what if we're giving up our life in the service of humanity, in the service of the Lord? That's a pretty strong mission, right? Even if you don't receive that moment or that vision or that clarity about, hey, here's the voice and here's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Instead, to understand that we're going to be doing the same thing that Christ did, and that is to serve. So there's a mistake that a lot of people make, and that is to, quote, wait on the Lord. If I just knew God's will for my life, if I just knew that, then I would get out there and really do what I needed to do. You probably heard people say this over and over again, and chances are you've said it, and I've even said it at times in my life. And so this waiting on the Lord tends to be a period of inactivity. It tends to be a searching or a waiting instead of a doing. So I'm going to give you a couple of passages about God's will. So there's no question for us. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. You'll be able to test it and approve it when? When we're not conforming to the world, but we're transformed by the renewing of our mind. When our mind's right and when it's focused, and we're going to look at that during the belief section. So we're looking at body right now. When we look at belief, we're going to really get into the renewing of our mind. Then we're able to test what his good and pleasing perfect will is. What happens when our mind is right? Suddenly we're able to see what we're supposed to be doing and when we're supposed to be doing it. 1 Thessalonians 5:12 through 18. Now we ask you, brothers and sisters, to acknowledge those who work hard among you, who care for you in the Lord, who admonish you. Well, this is a list. To acknowledge them. What else are you supposed to do? Hold them in the highest regard and love because of their work. What else? Live in peace with each other. We urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, be patient with everyone. Make sure that no one pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everyone else. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. if our life was just dedicated to these verses, we would live an incredibly valuable life to everyone around us, and our life itself would feel extremely valuable, extremely fulfilled, extremely significant, right? Absolutely. But it's a massive passage here. This is not the cool thing like, hey, here's your assignment, go to the land that I'm going to show you, or here, go and release these peoples. We're not getting that type of assignment that feels like it's that cool thing that we get to share with people. But if people were to say, what's your purpose in life? Well, I'm supposed to acknowledge those who work hard among us as believers that really shine and show that work. I'm supposed to hold them in high regard. I'm supposed to live in peace with everybody. I need to warn people who aren't working or who are being disruptive. I need to encourage the disheartened, to help the weak, to be patient. What if that was our memorized life? And if somebody asked us what our purpose was, we were able to quote these verses. It's pretty strong, I think. And I think we would have a lot of clarity about what we're supposed to be doing and why we're supposed to be doing it. So God's will is that we work and that we serve. Now, here's the thing about work, is that it's not, as in our culture often, it's not the find the thing that you love to do and do it. Work was a conduit for service back in that time. You don't see Peter going, man, I love fishing. It's like my favorite. Love it. You don't see Paul going, cannot wait to make this tent, got a new order in, new contract in. These things were work that provided resources so that they could serve more effectively. So our will, God's will in our life, our purpose is to work and to serve. And that's it. So how do we do it? We do it through our body. This is the mechanism. This is the instrument for us. And so you've got a worksheet, the 1010 Life, my mission, work, serve, and purpose. So it looks like this. Make sure that you've downloaded the workbook. And if you hadn't, it's all the way at the bottom of this course. So I might write down something like the 1010.life, and that's at www.the1010.life. And that's my work. Who am I serving? People who want to create a biblically based life plan, who want to become more effective in service, who want to live life to the full, right? So what's my purpose? To help more people live life to the full for the kingdom. It's super simple. It's not clueless. It's clear. So what might be another work for me is to be a father. Who am I serving? Sam and Stephen, my sons. And what's the purpose? To impact the world through two godly men. Let's not complicate this. Let's not make it so heavy that we don't know, what our purpose is and what our mission is, that we're always just kind of running around in circles, hoping for that ethereal moment of clarity. Instead, we can just choose the clarity. God's will for us is that we work and that we serve. And that comes through our body. So the more, the healthier we are, the better shape we're in, the better we're going to be able to work, and the better we're going to be able to serve. So let's focus on working and serving as our mission. And every time we think, why am I doing this exercise? Why am I eating this healthy meal? It's so I can work more effectively, so I can serve more people and honor the Lord at a higher level. In the next video, we're going to be looking at what we're going to eat. We're going to look at our manna. But before we get there, make sure that you go through your 1010 Life, write down your mission. And I've just written down a couple of things. You can write down your occupation. You can write down relationships in your life. But write down what your work is, how you serve through that work, or who you serve through that work, and then what the end result is. What's the purpose of that work? Make sure you do this assignment first before moving on to the next when we look at manna, exactly how we're supposed to eat for more energy, for better strength, and so we can serve long term.